Welcome to the Apex, everyone. I'm Zell, your host, and today in sharp news from the blog and print world, we have From the Truth About Knives. We need common sense cookware control. Seriously. And then from the Truth About Guns, we have Leftists discover the importance of opposing gun control laws like the bump fire stock ban. This one's interesting, guys. If you live here in the United States, and even in other countries, I suggest that you go give that one a once-over, because with our Second Amendment here in the United States, it's just interesting reading. And then from knife news, we have Knife Center introducing the Spyderco Native 5 G10. You'll have to go over there and look at the article and find out what that's all about. And we have WESN Goods targets big audience with a tiny frame lock flipper. It's kind of a slick little knife. At the price point, I've got some issues, but man, it's kind of a cool little knife. And before we jump into video, guys, if you know of a blog, if you are a blog, print, anything I can link to where it's written and not all video, let me know if it revolves around gear or knives and you update articles regularly, because it really seems that the blog and print world either has complicated websites that I'm just not going to deal with. You know who you are. If I can't see where your newest articles are right away, forget it. I'm not dealing with your website. Or they're just not putting out very many articles. And I understand why. Most of them are small, single guy or 2 or 3 guy ran websites. So it's tough to keep things going. But if you know of any, let me know so that we can have a little bit more in the written word instead of all video. But let's jump into those videos. From Nick Shabazz, we have Knife Gripe number 34, Unknown Origins. Whatever. And from Nick, we also have the Benchmade Anthem review. Now, that one you'll have to go watch Nick's review. I have some personal issues with the Anthem. Unless one of you guys wants to send one in for review, I'm not doing it because I'm not laying out my cash for it. And then, or Benchmade, if you want to send one over here to try to change my mind, sure, why not? But I'll probably just send it back to you after the video. And then from Birdshot IV, we have NCCknives by Nick Chuprin, Theft-Worthy Customs. There's a story to go with that. And from Canadian Cutting Edge, giveaway soon. Nick is getting ready, or I said Nick. It's not Nick, it's Jake. Jake is getting ready to do a rather large giveaway. And by the way, Jake, I sent you an email the other day. You need to get back with me, buddy. And if you didn't get it, email me and I'll get back with you. And from Luv Them Knives, we have the Bestech Swordfish. I have one of those on the table. And I'll tell you what, from the Bestech G10 line, this one is probably my favorite. And we'll be getting to a bit of a review on it very soon here, but in the meantime, get over there and watch what Luv Them Knives has to say about it. And then from Hoffman Blacksmithing, a new channel here for our sharp news, a knife to help out part 1. And what Hoffman Blacksmithing did was, I'm telling you what the video is about. But it's about the hurricanes and raising some money for the hurricane victims, so go find out what he's up to. And from Simple Little Life, we have Making a Minimalist Knife. One of his knife maker's vlogs. It ends up being a 2-parter. Pretty neat stuff. And from Fun with Knives, we have unboxing the Olight SR1 baton. And guys, if you're into flashlights, that Thorfire we talked about a week or so ago, that is a nice medium-sized flashlight. If you're looking for a little one and you don't want to go all the way down to the AAA size lights, wow, those SR1 batons are just amazing. I've got the little itty-bitty one, and I've got the larger one, the 18650 model, and the slightly larger one is the one I carry because the little one is too small. Yeah, you heard me right, too small. It gets lost in my pocket. Anyhow, from House of Wisdom, go watch Fun with Knives video on that. It's a cool light. And from House of Wisdom, we have his look at the Millet Torrent. And that is a slick little knife. If you are considering spending, I think they run around $350 or so, but anywhere over $300 for a 3-inch blade knife, get over there and watch that video. And if you just want to be amazed at some intricate machining, you need to get a look at those knives. And from Kevin Cleary, we have great first impressions of the Boker Lateralis. And man, Kevin loves that thing. I've got a Lateralis around here. It's actually, my wife's got it in the car at work right now. But I just can't love it. We're going to review it, and I'm going to do my darndest to give you a good, honest review. I just can't love the knife, even though it is a well-built beast. Let me tell you, it's well-built. And then from Stazza23, we have the Tantrum Santa Fe, a new budget offering from Kaiser. And this is a cool knife. It's using that Acuto 440, and I have some experience with that, and that seems to be a very reasonable steel. And they're sticking it in a knife that's costing about 30 bucks. And it's, so far, all reports say it's got good build quality. So go check out what Stazza has to say and get a look at it. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. There's a T on the end of that. Thanks, guys. And then from Taufledermaus. Yeah, that's another new one. And this is an educational video. Slugs and buck shells exploding outside of a gun. And I say it's educational because, do you know what happens? You may have a theory on what happens, but have you seen it? Well, Taufledermaus will show you. So, and I say educational because there's a lot of people that believe that what happens isn't what happens. So get over there and watch it and see. It's pretty slick, and they have a really neat little slug they use at the end of it. Just cool. One last thing, if you see the TKT emblem up there, whether it's the dog, the Spartan, the regular TKT emblem up there, whenever I'm talking about your channel, that is some shameless self-promotion because you have not sent me a logo. And I will continue the shameless self-promotion until you send me a logo. If you want to steal my self-promotion, send me your logo and you can have some of your own. And now we're going to go down to a tabletop view for the rest of the video. Alright guys, today we'll want to talk about a couple of conversations I had with viewers over the past week. And it was the same conversation with two different ones. And thankfully they come to the conclusion themselves before I realized it. I should have known it right away, but it's been so long since I've dealt with it that I'd kind of forgotten. But before we jump into that, let's talk about the shiver. Give you a quick shiver update. This is the 01 shiver. I have sharpened it up, and I've used the heck out of it. Got a little bit of a mess there in the blade where I don't remember what I got it into, but I've used it pretty hard. We've got a little bit of rust speckling down here. It is a high carbon steel though, guys. We should have expected that whenever some idiot leaves it out in the shop instead of bringing it inside. But I brought it inside and it hasn't continued, so very nice. And it is not finished to a high polish finish. This is finished to a finish that I would take it to coat, over to the coater at. So not a high polish. And that gives it more opportunity to rust, as we've talked about. But overall, I have really liked it. It has worked really, really well. And it's held its edge well, so our heat treat worked out great. And now, let's get back to that question that those viewers... All right, the one with the green handles. I hear you. All right, this is a knife that, if you have been watching on Instagram, you would have seen the entire build from a piece of CTX XHP all the way to what you see here. A couple of videos, and lots of pictures to get us to this point. So why weren't you watching on Instagram? I told you like 2 or 3 months ago to watch the Zelrick 42 account on Instagram and to watch the Todd Knife and Tool account on Instagram if you wanted to see these things getting built. Oh, don't fuss at me. Just, it's in the description. Go follow those accounts. And, you know, you can even follow them on your computer. You don't have to have a smartphone to follow on Instagram. You can sign up, I believe you can sign up on a computer. There's some things you can't do on a computer, but you can definitely browse. Anyhow, XHP at a fairly high polish. It's not a perfect mirror, but a fairly high polish on the flats. A fairly high polish on the grinds too, but I left some grind marks in there because I like to have that differentiation between the two areas. And we have black and green G10 with some revolver hardware, and there's no glue in this knife. It is all mechanical fasteners. I don't like to use epoxy unless I have to, and it's worked out well. I like the way these knives are feeling. You get a good grip on them at this little index finger area, choil if you will, and don't really need to have the jimping. And that's what I was looking for, something smooth, something that the guy can carry around the office and that sort of thing, but still have a fixed blade. And I'm working on some sheaths to facilitate that office carry, and hopefully I'll have those out in the next 2 or 3 months, or have them available. And it's going to take a little time. There's some things I got to do. Anyhow, let's move along and talk about the conversations I had with those viewers. They were both having problems with 2 different knives with getting them to open consistently, and this baffled me because both of them would tell me, well, about half the time or better, man, it just flies out with authority, and it's beautiful. And then the other half the time, I can't get it to pop out. It's like it's locked up or bound or something. And that baffled me. I shouldn't have known. And they both come across the answer on their own. And here's the problem. Whenever you have a frame lock, flipper, thumb stud knife, doesn't matter. You have a detent in there. And what is a detent? Well, that is a detent hole. And a little ceramic ball fits down in that hole, and that little ceramic ball is on your lock bar. So, let's all get this in a big ball of wax and think with me. Come on, let's do it. If that little ball in the lock bar is pressing into that little hole, that's what keeps the blade closed. Whenever it's all the way open, doesn't do anything. But whenever it comes closed, see, watch the lock bar side scale here. Right about that. See, popped right down. That little ball fell right in that hole. So that gives you your detent to pop it open and holds it closed. So how can you goof that up? What can we do as humans to goof it up? Nothing? It's the maker's fault? It's all his fault, right? We need to send this thing back to Todd Begg, because whenever I hold it like this, I can't get it to work. No, don't send it back to Todd. Don't send it back to whoever else. If you put your fingers on that lock bar, it won't do that. You put them on the lock bar, it's not going to flip out. It's just the way it is. So how do you prevent this? Well, if you have the frame lock, the way you prevent this is you keep your hands down, or your fingers, you train them to stay down below this line. This is the no-go line. This is the preacher's daughter on Sunday. Not Friday, guys. Sunday. On Sunday, you don't pass the line. You got to wait till next Friday. And on the knife, you don't even do it on Friday. But you keep your fingers with light pressure down below that line, and the knife pops out every time. Now you can put them above the line, but you can't death grip the knife. And if you get them up here, you're getting in that danger zone where that preacher may chase you with a shotgun. But it will work if you don't have a death grip on it. And, you know, that goes for any frame lock. 702, whenever they're new, they're pretty darn stiff. This was a 606. Whenever it was brand new, it was pretty darn stiff. But oh my God, look at that, guys. Knife Guy did that. Thank you to KME and Knife Guy for that. That is beautiful. And another way you can mitigate it, of course, staying away from frame locks. You can do an axis lock. You can do these liner locks like this guy here, or like the WESN 704, which is more of a frame lock with some pretty scales on it. Same thing with the Hinderer Storm, and many others out there today are set up like this knife. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because then you can get a hold of the knife any way you want to. You've got your good detent, and everything just works, and you don't have to worry about where your fingers are. But if you're having problems with a frame lock flipper, see where these fingers are. If they're across that line, it's Sunday, guys. You got to wait till Friday. All right. One more thing before we go. I've got to show you this. We looked at the 606 that Knife Guy did for us, and he mirrored up that entire bevel. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And that wasn't all he did. He sharpened my personal 704, which is an absolutely beautiful thing. Thank you, Knife Guy. Thank you, KME. And one last one. He sharpened up this guy. And look at that. That is one shiny piece of D2 down there, ain't it? And here's the deal with this one. We're going to give it away. You guys know the rules. This giveaway is sponsored by We Knife Company, KME, and Knife Guy. We Knife Company supplying the knife. KME is supplying the stuff for Knife Guy to do his edge, and Knife Guy's time to sharpen it. Knife Guy is tech support for KME, so I really want to thank those guys, and you should thank those guys too. Get over to Knife Guy's channel and give him a like, give him a follow, and keep track of how to use your KME and new parts and new stuff for the KME. And down below, spell pterodactyl correctly before anything you might want to say in the comments. And I'm not going to tell you how to spell it. You'll have to spell it correctly. And if it's not spelled correctly, well, you miss out on your chance if you get picked. And you've got to be 18 years old or older and live in the United States of America, or at the very least have a mailing address in the United States of America. Someplace I can go USPS with no problem. And I have not touched this. I've not cut anything with it. I'm scared to because, well, it's just so pretty. Okay, I got some clean paper over here. We'll run through one piece of clean paper. That's it. I'm not cutting anything else with it until the new owner gets it. Then they can cut stuff with it. But that is a WE 701C. And this drawing sponsored by Knife Guy, KME, and We Knife Company. You guys get pterodactyl down there in the comments before anything you might want to say. And next week, we'll send this guy out to one lucky guy or girl. Be kind of cool if it was a girl. I don't think any girls have won anything on this channel. And I've got 3 items in there just for the ladies that are going to come up real soon in the giveaways. So ladies, if you're not watching the channel like all the time, you should be. I've got some special stuff for you. And I may have to give some stuff that some guys don't want to some guys. I guess I can give it to their wives or their girlfriends, or, you know, maybe they will want to keep it. I guess that's not weird anymore. Whatever. Pterodactyl down in the comments. Be 18 and have a U.S. mailing address. And the knife in this box could be yours. And you guys have a great day. Keep your hands on your frame locks in the right place. And I'll see you next time. You? Yeah, you.